Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Mi, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. In today's video, we're going to talk about Luffy's most difficult training and the road that he has walked on his way to become the strongest in the world. Now recently we've seen that Luffy has seemed to achieve the awakening of his devil fruit, and with this awakening, he may have acquired new and unknown abilities along the way. But with this power, he has had to learn how to use it responsibly. Now we won't know for sure, but Luffy apparently has managed to become Joy Boy, something we really don't know the real meaning of. But now that he may have gained this title, there may now be something very important he needs to accomplish. But before this, Luffy's gonna have to learn how to use these new powers, learn new transformations, and even how to deal with them, because an awakened devil fruit is not something very easy to use. In today's video, we're gonna talk about Luffy's next level of training, where he might need to go in order to train and learn how to use his powers perfectly, what possible adventures will be in the future, and what possible powerful enemies Luffy and the Straw Hats might need to face. Now before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel, we would be absolutely honored if you consider leaving us a like or even subscribing with a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and motivates us, and if you like our content, consider sharing the video with friends to help our channel even more. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So friends, we've just seen in the manga recently that One Piece has given us an amazing revelation. After several conflicts in Wano, Luffy has finally managed to achieve some kind of awakening of his fruit, and a possible unique awakening, because it may be that his devil fruit is a very legendary devil fruit. It may even be that Luffy's fruit is so powerful that the ancient Gorosei even changed the name of the fruit so that no one would ever find out about the true power it holds, because if people knew of its existence, it could create great chaos because of the power this fruit holds. So it seems they might have believed that hiding the existence of this fruit would have been the best choice for the world government. Who's Who also revealed that the world government tried to protect this fruit with CP9, which in the end, after losing it to Shanks, it was eaten by Luffy. So because the ancient Gorosei changed the name of the fruit, they probably didn't imagine that a boy with a straw hat would ever be able to awaken this fruit, and it's not been awakened for possibly hundreds of years, so everybody probably believed that it was just a simple devil fruit, for the ancient Gorosei had named it the Gomu Gomu no Mi, the rubber fruit. Now, after the world government lost the fruit to a member of Shanks' crew, the world government superiors really didn't seem to consider Luffy's capture as an emergency, because they really probably didn't believe that they could reach the true power of the devil fruit. So instead, they just arrested Who's Who let the fruit be taken by Shanks. After all, Who's Who, or whatever his real name is, couldn't really protect the fruit because Shanks' crew was just too strong. But he did manage to escape later from the world government and impelled down after being considered a traitor. But let's get back to our main topic. At the current moment in Wano, Kaido is after all of Luffy's allies and asking for Momonosuke's surrender. All the while, it seems that Luffy may not in fact be knocked out and could be awakening his power. Now, if Luffy manages to recover a little bit of his energy and better understands his power, he should be able to have his final conflict with Kaido, where we will be able to see his newly awakened power, and he might be able to finally get the victory from this final confrontation. But once that's over, Luffy and the crew are going to have to urgently leave Wano, because the Marines, of course, are arriving with a huge fleet, so all the pirates and everyone that's there is in danger, because really, there's nobody left to fight, and everybody has been spent from the raid. So if they end up having to make a break for it, Luffy and the Straw Hats are just going to have to bid farewell very quickly to the Samurai of Wano after fulfilling their first mission as Joy Boy, which would be, of course, to open the gates of Wano. Now, it's also been said that learning how to use the awakened fruit is completely exhausting, and proof of this is when Kid tells Law that he had awakened his fruit, but the use of the fruit would wear out his energy very quickly. So to completely learn how to use this properly, Luffy would need lots of time, and plus, he might have to learn new skills in the process. So the finale of the Wano arc, Luffy will probably leave for the island of Elbaf, where the giants live. Now, because the Marines really don't go to that place, and it's protected, it's probably likely that they won't be followed. Now, even though this might sound like a dangerous thing to go to a place where there's a bunch of giants, for Luffy and the Straw Hats, this wouldn't really be a problem, since they love adventures and facing powerful enemies. So Elbaf might just be the perfect place for each of the crew members to start training their new powers that they obtained in Wano. Let's just think about all of the crazy stuff that our crews learn. For instance, Nico Robin could train on her new demon transformation, which is a power that we saw when she fought against Black Maria, a power where we saw that she can create an entirely large version of herself, but with demon aspects, and this would allow Robin to take on larger opponents. Now, we also saw that Nami was able to recover Zeus, but since Zeus is fused with her climb attack, she and Zeus are going to have to work together to learn new techniques and even become stronger together. We've also seen Zoro awaken his Conqueror's Haki during the Wano arc, but he really doesn't know how to use it or focus it yet, so he could start training so that he might be able to use it as well as Luffy, and also allow him to face several enemies at the Yonko level. And this is just going to all be about increasing his willpower. We've also seen Sanji awaken the power of his genetic modification, just like his sister and his brothers, so he might be able to make his kick stronger and his flames burn hotter because his leg can now resist even higher temperatures through his new abilities and his exoskeleton. But Luffy, on the other hand, as I said before, has achieved the apparent awakening of his legendary fruit and consequently has possibly become Joy Boy, and that may have awakened a whole new set of powers or even a different increase in strength. So it's entirely possible that Luffy might have to go almost back to square one and training just to get used to his new power, something that really could take a long time, and maybe long enough for a new time skip because he'll have to perfect these techniques, especially now that he's become Joy Boy. Now, following the fall of 2 Yonko, there is going to be a vacuum of power and an imbalance in the world, so it may be something that's going to bring concern, and with the world government now possessing the 2 greatest powers in the world, that balance may irrevocably change in their direction. On top of that, there's likely to be several pirates who are going to be hunting Luffy, Kid, and Law just to get their Yonko titles. Meanwhile, the Marines are going to start looking for Luffy and the Straw Hats intensively because Luffy very likely has become their main target. Because if he indeed is the possessor of this legendary fruit and is on the way as becoming Joy Boy, Im-sama can make Luffy the most wanted pirate in the world. And besides possibly defeating Yonko, he would also become a huge threat to the world government. So it may be to the Straw Hats' advantage to stay in Elbaf until there's an opportunity to go ahead with their plan. And right then, they could train with the Giants, and we already know that they are incredible warriors and capable of training. Even Big Mom has praised Elbaf's army of Giants, saying that it would take the strength of her crew and Elbaf's army to have any chance of defeating Shanks. So she does consider them incredibly strong. So throughout this potential Elbaf arc, we could see incredible growth of the Straw Hats, especially with Luffy since he's the one who would have the most visible increase in his abilities. But in the immediate, Luffy's really just going to have to make sure that his awakening abilities aren't really wearing him down and taking away so much energy, allowing him to stay in combat much longer. It could even be that Luffy could get to somewhere similar to Doflamingo, who managed to get used to the power of his awakening of his Ito Ito no Mi, being able to freely use the powers that it gives him and even turning entire buildings into strings. So Luffy's going to have to work really hard to get to this place. This kind of training could even possibly be life-threatening to Luffy, because he'd have to have a lot of power in his awakened fruit to get used to using it more often. So it could turn out to be the hardest training that Luffy has ever endured. And while Luffy and the Straw Hats are training, it's not like the Giants might just let them be on Elbaf and not try to capture them or do worse, which might even make the training all the more difficult. But with Luffy becoming possibly the Sun God, it's possible that the Giants might want to fight alongside him. During his training arc, Luffy might even be able to develop a transformation, a Gear 5 for instance, that would be his awakened fruit as a base, and thus taking away the wear and tear factor, giving him a lot more power. From that base level, he could then improve his Gear 4 Bound Man, Tank Man, Snake Man, and with this fruit, even add on other forms, making him all the more flexible and strong. Now in truth, we know very little about Elbaf, and there may actually be giants that have a power level similar to that of a Yonko, but this would also be an incredibly great place for the Straw Hats to become even stronger by having giants to face with. In addition to having training opportunities with giants, it could actually be that they possess some unique or different hockey technique, which would allow Luffy to become even stronger. I mean, after all, we saw the hockey flow or Rio that Hyogoro described while in the prison part of our Wano arc. Or instead of physical or fighting techniques, perhaps we'll see a broadening of observation hockey. And it's no telling what secrets or other abilities lie in Elbaf for the Straw Hats and of course Luffy. So if you think about it, it's probably essential that the Straw Hats go to Elbaf, because there may be a secret that they need there, because this island really seems to be a special place, because we saw Roger tell Shanks a secret about this island and it made Shanks cry. So perhaps Luffy will go to Elbaf to become not only stronger, but much wiser and knowledgeable in the overall world of One Piece. But for now, I'd like to know what you think about it. What do you think is going to happen after Luffy recovers in Wano? Do you think he's really experiencing an awakening? And if he's going to get an extra gear, what do you think it might be? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. As we close out our time today, we'd like to thank you so much for watching the video all the way into the end. Make sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you've made it this far, give us a like as you head out to take on the rest of your day. Hope to see you all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.